Hello and welcome to the classroom. Sue, today we're going to talk about x-rays. Do you know what an x-ray is? You don't? Well, an x-ray is just a picture of the inside of you. Maybe you've been to the dentist and you had an x-ray of your teeth, or maybe you hurt your arm and you had to go and get an x-ray. Well, we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to even make an x-ray today in art. We're going to read about Curious George. He has to get an x-ray at the hospital. So Sue, why don't you have a seat and we'll get started. First, we need to feed Fred. That's our class job. So every time you come to class, we take care of our pet fish. Hi, Fred. Well, now that we have fed Fred, let's turn around and see what day it is. The month is September, and let's reach into our pail and see how we're going to count the numbers. It says we're going to put our arms up and down. So let's put our arms up and down as we count the numbers. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Today is September 15th. Can you say that? September 15th. Well, if you go all the way up to the top, you can see that today starts with the letter F, and letter F says f, 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 like a firefly blinking on and off. So what day starts with that sound? F, f, f. Friday. Today is Friday. Days of the week. 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 There's Sunday and there's Monday, there's Tuesday and there's Wednesday, there's Thursday and there's Friday, and then there's Saturday. Days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week. Well, it is time to look outside the window and see what your weather is like today. Okay, did you check? Well, when I do like this with my microphone, you can shout out whatever your weather is. What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? It is out today. It is out today. Let's dress Weather Bear. Weather Bear, how about if you wear some shorts today and a t-shirt and your sandals? Okay, and what is the season right now, everybody? The season is summer. The season is summer. And that was our calendar and weather time. Now it's time for our letter of the day. Today's letter is X. Can you say X? If your name has letter X, stand up. If your name has letter X, stand up. If your name has letter X, if your name has letter X, if your name has letter X, stand up. Well, X is for X-ray, and to decorate letter X, you can glue on some popsicle sticks like I did. I'm pretending that those are bones. So an X-ray is a picture of your bones or the insides of you. So what letter is this again? It's letter X. Now we can recognize it, so next we'll practice writing it. To write a letter X, we're just going to start at the top and slide down. That's a diagonal line, like a slide. Then we're going to go back to the top and we're going to move over. I'll draw a dot so you can see. Go back to the top, move over, and slide the other way. I like to say crisscross when I'm practicing my letter X. Maybe that'll help you too. So start at the top, slide down, go back to the top and slide the other way. Crisscross, crisscross. This is a big letter X, so we know that it needs to go upstairs and downstairs. So if you're using the handwriting paper, start at the top upstairs and then go down to the green carpet. And then go back up to the top and slide the other way. Criss-cross. Criss-cross. Okay, well, big letter X and little letter X look exactly the same. One is big and one is small, but they still crisscross. So let's practice the little X next. Criss-cross. If you're using the handwriting paper, then the little X goes downstairs. So find the stairs, and that's the line where little X belongs, right there. Crisscross, crisscross, crisscross. Very, very good. Well, I know that you are working so hard. You are listening and you are learning. You can keep practicing those today if you'd like to. I'm going to give you a sticker for your handwriting paper. And now it's time for us to talk about the sound that letter X makes. Letter X makes this sound. X, x, x. It kind of sounds like two sounds, a K and an S. X, x, x. Can you try to make that sound? X, x, x. It really sounds like my water squirter. I use this to water my plants. Listen to the sound it makes. X, x, x. Can you pretend you have a water squirter too? X, x, x. That's the sound that letter X makes, but it doesn't make that sound at the beginning of a word. Letter X says x, x, x at the end of a word, like the word axe. This is an axe. It's used for chopping wood, or fox, or mix, or box. So all of those have the x, x, x sound at the end. Sometimes X says its own name. X can say X as in X-ray. So X today, though, makes the sound. The one that we're going to talk about today is x, x, x at the end of words. Okay, well, that was our letter of the day time, and now it's time for math, and we are going to be counting some bones. So will you help me count some bones? I have some bones for us to count. All right, so here we go. Let's see how many bones I have. 1, 2, 3. I think that's a foot. 3, 4, 5. What do you think that is? It's a hand. Very good. So let's count these bones again. An X-ray is just a picture of your bones or a picture of your insides. All right, so help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have 5 fingers, don't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the number that we've been working on all week. I want to see if you remember how to write number 5 without looking. I'm going to write 5 and you write 5, and then I'm going to turn it around and you can see if you got it right. Okay, write number 5. I'll give you a hint. Little line, backward C with a top. Okay, are you ready for the big reveal? Ta-da! Did you get it right? Very good. That's how you write number 5. And now you can recognize it, you can write it from memory, and you can count it. Well, this week we've been working on a color. Do you remember what color we've been working on? We've been working on the color orange. O-R-A-N-G-E, orange. O-R-A-N-G-E, orange. O-R-A-N-G-E, orange. Orange is what that spells. What color is this? We learned it last week. Green. What color is this? Yellow. What color is this? Blue. And what color is this? Red. You remembered all the colors we've been working on. Well, it's time now for science, and I have a special guest coming today to help us to learn more about bones. Molly, come on out. This is my friend Molly. Molly, do you want to help us learn some things about bones? You do? Okay, well, I'm going to let Molly teach us some things about bones. Take it away, Molly. Molly, stand up. I thought you were going to teach us some things about bones. Okay, well, go ahead. Molly's going to teach us some things about bones. What? Molly, stand up. I thought you were going to teach us some things about bones. Go ahead, this is your chance, Molly. Here we go. Let's try this again. Molly, teach us some things about bones. Oh my goodness. Actually, Molly is teaching us some things about bones, because if we didn't have bones, we would just flop over like a rag doll, like Molly, or like this rag doll. We need our bones to help us to stand up or to walk around. This is what it looks like inside our bones. If you could look inside your bones, you would see this red stuff right in the middle. That's called marrow. On the outside of that, you would see this soft, spongy stuff. And then on the very outside of all of it is a hard outer layer. Now this is what your bones look like inside. There are 206 of them, and they all fit together like a puzzle. Do you like to do puzzles? Well, your bones fit together like one big giant puzzle. We need more than just our bones to move, though. We need our muscles, too. Can you show me a big muscle? Show me a big muscle on your arm, like the Hulk. Whoa, look at those big muscles. Well, we need our muscles and we need our bones working together to help us move. And they are connected with something called a tendon. A tendon connects our bones to our muscles. Some bones protect our organs. Do you ever wear a helmet? Do you have a helmet so when you ride your bicycle, you put it on, or when you're riding your scooter or skating? Well, just like your helmet protects your head, your bones are hard too, and they can protect your organs. You even have a really hard bone in your head that protects your brain. Your ribs, which are your bones in your chest, come around to protect your lungs and your heart. There are some foods that have lots of calcium in them that are really good to help your bones stay strong. Our bones are made of calcium, so foods like yogurt and cheese and milk, those have calcium. So the more things with calcium you eat or drink, the healthier and stronger your bones will be. This is a picture of an X-ray. You can see on this side, this is a hand, and it looks just great. But the X-ray picture on this side, shows a broken bone. Can you see right there? That shows that the bone has been broken. An X-ray is a picture of the insides of you, like an inside picture of your bones. And this will help the doctor to know how to help fix the bone that's broken. So I have a camera here and I want to take your picture. Can you say cheese? Got it. Did that hurt when I took your picture? Let me take one more picture. Everybody say cheese. Got it. It didn't hurt when I took your picture, and an x-ray is just a picture. It's a picture of your insides, and it doesn't hurt a bit. Well, we're going to make an x-ray right now, so let's head over to the art table and I'll show you how. We're going to make an x-ray of our hand, and I'm using a dark piece of paper, like black or dark blue or purple. And then I'm going to be using a white crayon or a piece of chalk. I'm going to trace my hand like this with the white crayon. Go all around your fingers. Okay. And so then I'm going to put some bones on here, and I'm going to use Q-tips. So I'm just going to put some glue right here on the fingers, and I'm going to put some glue down here too. I'm going to make 2 bones down here for the arm, and then I'm going to put 1 bone on each finger like that. 1 Q-tip. Those will be the bones. Okay, so there you have it. We made an x-ray using Q-tips and black paper and white crayon. Well, it's time for us to read a story. We're going to hear about George. Curious George is going to need an x-ray. Well, here's a picture of that x-ray that we made. And in our story today, George is going to need an x-ray. So let's read this together. It's called Curious George Goes to the Hospital. This is George. He lived with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. He was a good little monkey, but always very curious. Today, George was curious about the big box on the man's desk. What could be in it? George could not resist. He simply had to open it. It was full of funny little pieces of all sorts of shapes and colors. George took one out. It looked like a piece of candy. Maybe it was candy. Maybe he could eat it. George put the piece in his mouth, and before he knew it, he had swallowed it. A while later, the man with the yellow hat came home. "Why, George," he said, "I see you've already opened the box with the puzzle. It was supposed to be a surprise for you. Well, let's go ahead and work on it." Finally, the puzzle was finished. Well, almost finished. One piece was missing. The man looked for it everywhere, but he could not find it. "That's strange," he said. "It's a brand new puzzle." "Well, it cannot be helped. Maybe we'll find it in the morning. Let's go to bed now, George." The next morning, George did not feel well. He had a tummy ache and he didn't want to eat his breakfast. The man was worried. He went to the telephone and called Dr. Baker. "I'll be over right away." When the doctor arrived, he looked down George's throat and felt his tummy. He took out his stethoscope and listened to George's heart and lungs. "I'm not sure what's wrong," he said. "You'd better take George to the hospital and have an x-ray taken." "Don't worry, George," said the man when they got to the hospital. "You've been here before when you broke your leg. Remember how nice the doctors and nurses were?" George held his big rubber ball tightly as he walked up the hospital steps. A nurse took them down a long hallway, and then a doctor told him to get up on a table. "I'm going to take some x-ray pictures of your insides," said the doctor. He pushed a button and there was a funny noise. "There, all done. You can get up now, George." The doctor looked at the x-ray. Now let's see. There is something there that should not be," said the doctor. "Why, that looks like our missing puzzle piece," said the man with the yellow hat. "Well, well, well," said the doctor. "At least we know what's wrong with our little patient. We'll get that puzzle piece out right away." George had to wait. Other children were waiting for their turn too. One little girl was Betsy. She looked sad. Finally, it was George's turn. A nurse gave George a special bracelet with his name on it. George and the man with the yellow hat and the nurse walked to a room where lots of other children were there and waiting for their turn. George waved goodbye to the man with the yellow hat. George was taken to a room with lots of lights. George was getting sleepy. The next thing George knew, he was opening his eyes. A nurse was there and she said, "It's all done, George. They got that puzzle piece out." The next morning, George felt better. He even ate ice cream. He played with other kids in the special children's room. There were puppets and paints. There were toys and TV. George saw something that looked interesting. He was curious. He jumped on. It went round and round like a merry-go-round. Whee! George lost his balance. Luckily, he landed on a soft cushion. George saw a chair with wheels. He was curious. He climbed into it. Then he grabbed the wheels and started turning them. He could make the chair go. He could make the chair go really fast. Down the hall he went. "George! George!" a nurse shouted as she ran after him. But it was too late. George went down the ramp and crashed into some men who were pushing lunch trays. Spinach, scrambled eggs, strawberry jam were all over the floor. What a mess! Suddenly, everybody looked up and listened. From up above came happy laughter, and there stood Betsy, laughing and laughing and laughing. She wasn't sad anymore. Everyone began to laugh. Everyone except George. Betsy came running down the ramp. She kissed George on the head. "Don't be sad, George. The whole thing was so funny. I never laughed so much in my whole life. I'm glad you were in the hospital with me." Now the director of the hospital spoke. "I'm very sorry there's such a big mess, George, but I'm also very happy that you made our sad little Betsy happy again. You made all of us smile. Thank you, George." The children crowded around the windows to wave goodbye when George and the man with the yellow hat finally left the hospital. As the car was turning into the driveway, Nurse Carol came running after them. "Here's a little package with something that belongs to you, George," she called. "Don't open it until you get home." George was curious. The moment he reached home, he ripped the paper off. He tore open the box, and there was the missing puzzle piece. "How nice of the doctor to save it for us," said the man with the yellow hat. "And now we can finally finish our puzzle." The end. The end. Well, I hope you had a good day and a good week learning about all kinds of things. Let's see if we remember the letters that we've learned this week. So on Monday, we learned this letter. What letter is that? T. T was for trains, and T says t, 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 like a ticking clock. And then on Tuesday, we brought musical instruments, and we learned this letter, U, for ukulele. And what does U say? Like a tummy ache, like George. Then on Wednesday, we learned this letter. What letter is this? V. V for vegetables. And what does letter V say? Remember Sue brought her violin? That's what V says. Yesterday, we learned this letter. What letter is this? W. W was for web. There were spiders' webs in our classroom. And W says, w, as in wake up. We played the wake up game, didn't we, Sue? Well, I hope you had some fun, and I hope you'll join us on Monday. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend. See you next time.